Hello everybody, welcome. This is paper 1 from November 2023, time zone 1. Let's work through this and see what we can do. Question number 5 looks like a bearings question. Ron sails his boat from point R for a distance of 150 kilometers on a bearing of 120 degrees. To arrive at a point S, he then sails on a bearing of 38 degrees to point T. Ron's journey is shown in the diagram. So here's Ron. He sweeps through an angle of 120 degrees and then sets off 150. Sweeps through an angle from true north and then heads off again. Okay. Interesting question. Even more interesting, the first kind of bearings question that had shown up on these exams was from May 2023, the first time one had shown up even on specimen papers. And then it's kind of interesting that the second time it had shown up was right after on the next exam in May. So somewhat interesting. Find RST. Okay, find RST. What are they asking us to find? If we start at R, then we go to S, and then we go to T, they're asking us to find this value right here. RST. Also sometimes see this as RST, where you're looking for that middle angle. Just follow the points and you'll get there. Find RST. Here we have a situation where we're going to need to remember our angle pairs. So if we have two parallel lines cut by what's called a transversal, and let's say we have this as A and we have this as B. Whoops. We have this as B. If we know, for example, angles at a point sum to 180, and here we have two corresponding angles, this is B and this is B, we also know that A plus B is equal to 180 degrees, as these are equal to 180 degrees, and these two guys right here are equivalent. So A plus B is equal to 180. So let's use that. 120 plus what? Plus 60 degrees. And then 60 plus 38. Since it's a 2-mark question, let's write it out. 60 plus 38 degrees is equal to 98 degrees. We might even want to include this 120 plus x is equal to 180 to show how we found the 60. But I think this should be enough. So RST is equal to 98 degrees. 98 degrees. Point T is directly east of point R. Calculate the distance that Ron sails to return directly from point T to point R. So directly east means that we travel directly on a flat line. So again, if we have north, south, east, and west, to go directly east means that we don't have any kind of deviation north or south, directly east. Which actually is quite nice, makes this question super simplified. And it's very nice of them to do that, I think. Point T is directly east of point R. Calculate the distance that Ron sails to return directly from point T to R. So Ron is going to head back this way. He's going to go back from T to R. And the question is, what is this side length here? Now, we've already defined x, so let's call this z. Calculate the distance that Ron sails to return directly from point T to R. We have what looks like a non-right angle triangle. So again, we can either use sine, cosine, or area formula. Sine's always going to be the easiest. Let's try that out first. We're going to need an angle and its opposite side length. We already have one angle right here. If this is 120, then we know that this is a right angle, and this itself should be 30. 120, this is a right angle right here. This itself should be 30. If we know 30 and 98, we know that 30 plus 98, let's write it out here. 30 plus 98 plus whatever this is, and let's call this theta, I suppose, plus theta is equal to 180 degrees. You see, angles of a triangle add up to 180. So working that out, you can end solve that if you like. Would give us a value of 52 degrees. So let's add that to our diagram. Alright, so we know 3 angles of a triangle. Now the question is, do we have a situation where we have an angle and its opposite side length, and an angle and its opposite side length? And we do have those pairs. So we should be able to use our sine rule. Once again, our sine rule, A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. So let's write that in. We have 150 over sine 52 is equal to Z, we don't know what it is, Z over sine 98. And we can go ahead and end solve that. I'm going to work it out. Actually, no, let's work it out on the calculator. So let's go ahead. Calculator, it looks like I'm stuck in radians. Let's go ahead and change that to degrees. Menu, no, I don't need to do any of that. Let's go ahead and end solve. Numerical solve. And let's go 150 over sine 52 is equal to, let's set up another fraction. Let's call it x in this case, is equal to sine 98. Of course we called it z, but for the calculator let's just leave it at that. Is equal to 188. So, returning back to the document, Z, or the missing side length, is 188.5 to 3 sig figs, 189 kilometers. That's how far he needs to travel. And it's actually not a bad question, to be honest. Making use of these co-interior angles, but otherwise not too bad. Alright everybody, I hope that was helpful, and as always, best of luck. Take care.